So you gonna give me some form or something, man? If you confiscate my property, there's a process for that. All right. So where do I go for this meeting?
Down the hall to the first floor.
All right. I don't know, how'd you come through this door even? I had to go through the other building. Miss Lake, I see the protocol changes for you. I had to go through the middle. They made me late.
Letter to the election board, I have to go ahead and read it for the record. It's, dear election board members, this election is likely. Unprecedented numbers of absent, and everyone will be eagerly awaiting the results when November 3rd draws to a close. The fair and effectual implementation of this election is of extreme importance to both political parties and to every American. Consequently, as elected officials representing constituents of Southern Laporte County, we collectively encourage you to approve the creation of an early voting location in Wanata. The current early voting locations are for many voters inconveniently located, sometimes as far as 45 minutes away, and participation in early voting is strikingly low across the southern portion of our county. Of the 10 precincts with the least participation in early voting, only one of them was not south of U.S. Highway 6. Other election boards, areas of their jurisdictions, can encourage voter participation. Now we are asking you to do the same for our rural county residents. A South County early voting location will likely reduce the number of absentee ballots the county must process and will lessen lines on election day. The slight burden of staffing an additional early voting location is easily offset by these other benefits. The possibility of using CARES Act dollars to fund an additional site and increasing voter turnout are even further benefits. The town of Wanata has already agreed to use their town hall as a facility, and there is still ample time to organize this additional location before early voting is set to begin. We urge you to approve this initiative as soon as possible so that voters have adequate time to become aware of the option. Every voter deserves a safe and convenient way to cast their ballot, and we want that option to minimize impact to election administrators as well. Therefore, in partnership with the South County Community Coalition and the Laporte County Better Government Study Group, and on behalf of the constituents we serve, we call on the Laporte County Election Board to establish a South County early voting location. And this letter was signed by State Senator Mike Bohachik, District 8, State Senator Ed Charbonneau, District 5, Pat Boyce, State Rep, District 9, Jim Russell, State Rep, District 20, Sheila Matias, President of Laporte County Board of Commissioners, Lee Jacora, Vice President of Laporte County Board of Commissioners, Richard Mrzinski, Member of Laporte County Board of Commissioners, Randy Novak, President of Laporte County Council, Mike Mullenhauer, Vice President of Laporte County Council, Terry Garner, Member of Laporte County Council, Mike Rosenbaum, Member of Laporte County Council, Michael Albert, County President, Town of Westville, James Bashinsky, Council Member, Town of Westville, Tom Pfaff, Council Member, Town of Westville, Olga Koporski, Council Member, Town of Westville, Regina Riddell, Council Member, Town of Westville, Lori Mercer, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Westville, Jeffrey Newburn, Council President, Town of Wanata, David Berger, Council Member, Wanata, Nicholas Mayo, Council Member, Wanata, Brian Oman, Council Member, Wanata, Diane Knoll, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Wanata, Justin Keel, Council President, Town of Wanata, Leslie Garwood, Lacrosse Council, Rodney Cox, Lacrosse Council, Kelly Keel, Clerk Treasurer, Town of Lacrosse, Derek Goose, Cass Township Trustee, Jackie Tharp, James Irwin, and Brian Pressel, Cass Township Board Members, Courtney Myers, Clinton Township Trustee, Ed Kriesel, Jerry Land, Mike Nix, Clinton Township Board Members, Nick Booker, Trustee of the Dewey Township, Paul Malecki, Dale Neese, Larry Rust, all three board members of Dewey Township, Glenn Wallace, Cannon Township Trustee, Tony Wallace and Dave Urschel, Cannon Township Board Members, Bill Hannon, Trustee of New Durham Township, Mike Coulter, James Ingram, New Durham Township Board, Dave Devitt, Trustee of Noble Township, Mary Daring, Noble Township Board Member, Robert Younggreen, Trustee of Prairie Township, Dan Meter, Phyllis Borski, Sherry Younggreen, Prairie Township Board Members, Tim Goose, President of the Tri-Township School Corporation, Chad Howell, board member for Tri-Township School Corporation, Vicki Hannon and Mark Parkman, both members of the MSD of New Durham Township. So, that's 54 elected officials. We're talking from the state level, the county level, to the local level. This initiative represents quite possibly the single most unifying issue in South County's history. It has pulled together 54 elected officials, 4 state legislators, 7 county officials, 12 council members, 3 town. We all want a South County early voting location, and we urge you to pass this with the necessary unanimous vote. And that being said, I'd like to close with it was my understanding from earlier in the week that this.
Thank you for sharing the letter. Any other comment, including any comments regarding the South County early voting location or any other early voting location site?
Laporte, and I would like to speak on behalf of the Better Government Center. Close to you for the adoption of a resolution. And I will read that. The resolution reads, whereas Laporte County is the second in the cities of Laporte and Michigan City, which are in the northwest municipalities, elected officials, more important than the county. And whereas the voting center, and whereas qualified workers have been identified to staff said early voting center, now therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Indiana Code IC 313-4-1, Board of Elections hereby resolves to authorize the clerk of the circuit court to establish a satellite office for early voting at the town hall of Wanata, Indiana, for the general election to be held on November 3, 2020. And I would urge your favorable consideration and approval of that resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Vijay Kora from the County Commission, 105 Woodside Drive, Michigan City. First, before I get started, I want to acknowledge that today is 9/11. I want to acknowledge all the individuals who and pay homage to all the individuals who lost their lives 19 years ago. And also, I want to express my gratitude to all the first responders who continue to take care of us 24/7, 365. With that, Mr. President, I just want to, and we have been in favor of making it as easy as possible for people to vote. And that's the reason why we passed a unanimous resolution asking for a no excuse mail-in ballot for the general election, like we did it in the primary. Unfortunately, the state election board did not go for it, but still we have the option of mail-in ballots for individuals who are 65 and above, and also for some reason if they're not in town or they're at work. So that is there. So in terms of in-person voting, having early extra or additional voting sites will be helpful. It'll make things easier for people to vote. And as a healthcare professional, I have to say that if we can spread this out with additional, spread the voting out with additional early voting sites, we can reduce the congestion on the day of the election. That will help minimize the transmission of COVID-19. So I am in favor of additional early voting sites, not only in South County, which some of our friends from South County want, but also I would suggest we do one in Cool Spring Township. We have looked at the old Cool Spring Library, and that is available. There are many individuals who live in the middle of the county, and so I think having an additional voting site in Cool Spring Township would definitely make it more convenient. Having said that, I realize how hard it has been for county clerks to conduct elections during this pandemic, in the midst of the pandemic, and I want to express my gratitude to our county clerk, Ms. Kathy Kroback, for the work that she has been doing. She has been putting long hours, and we have been in touch with her, and she has been, it's extraordinary amount of work she has put in And there are obviously some concerns whether do we have the resources to take care of this. And from the county commission, I want to assure on behalf of myself and knowing both Commissioner Muzinski and Commissioner Matias, been blessed with some county staff members. Like Darlene is sitting here, and from our office, they always step up, and they have assured me that they'll step up again and do whatever it takes to help Mr. Troback get this thing done, and then be able to do whatever it takes. So I just want to let you know that we are supportive on Cool Spring Township, and the space for the Cool Spring Township location has been identified, and Laporte Hospital, who currently owns that site, we have consideration for both locations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dillon.
Mike Rosenbaum, County Council, 1515 Indiana Avenue. Although it doesn't come as a surprise that Michigan City needs another site, I cannot question their need. If that is the case, then we should consider it. But first, we really need to consider the South County. We have been asking, and I know that people have been working with your county clerk, our county clerk, to get to make sure that we know what funding is needed. I know that the members of the county council are more than willing to support that effort to allow every member to vote. It is not just a commissioner effort, it is also a council effort to do so as well. I wanted to make sure that is clear. I wish I could also say that I too had a good working relationship with our county clerk, but she has not done that with me. And therefore, this is hard to come up here and say that I would like to work with her, and I've done that on many occasions, in email, in person, and again here, and yet you still shun the ability to work with other people, especially from the other party. So let's stop making this a partisan issue, let's make it a nonpartisan issue, and let's move forward. Thank you.
Sir, any other public comment at this time, including, again, I'm reserving this opportunity to comment on the early voting location, because once our board talks about this, we're not going to have any more public comment on this matter. Any other public comment?
Garland Neal, for County IT Director. When I was asked about being able to make the connection down south, either in Wanata or the one over in Cold Spring, you know, there may be some equipment that we may have to try to get our hands on real quick. You know, I don't know all the steps of what they do in the early voting. You know, we just make it work. And, you know, when the commissioners ask me, can you do it? Yes, we can. We do have other, you know, big projects going to Michigan City Courthouse, but we, you know, we will dedicate the time that we need to be able to make this happen, if that's the way you guys see.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any other public comment this time?
Good morning, or afternoon. I'm State Representative Deb Wood. I just want to state that voting is a right. A lot of people fought for a long time to get the vote for African Americans and for women. We need to make it easier, not harder, for people to vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments at this time? Last call. Any other comments at this time? We're going to close the public comment section at this time, and we're going to move on to old business. The first order of old business is the South County early vote location. Just to lay some ground rules here, we're going to speak on, as a board, regarding this old business of the South County early voting location, but I'd like to take the vote under new business, which says approval of early voting location date and time. Just so everyone's aware. Okay. I'm going to open it up and start with my comments. I appreciate the work that everyone's done in coming to the last meeting and sharing with us all of the information. I've had an opportunity to do my homework as well. I've looked into it. I've talked to Ms. Knoll down there at town council. We've discussed polling places during election day. I think it's only a matter of opening the the addition is not only rural. I've looked at the district maps, I've looked at the areas where there isn't. So in my opinion, I'm adding the south location as long as the north location as well, the north rural location. And 6 more. So we're behind the 8 ball here, and my opinion is we need more. I think we need a 4 would be a good start. And so it's not only, I have discussed regarding both locations, availability at both those sites, the old library building, the Republican Democrat thing, this isn't blue grad, this is to have access to the polls for everyone. And it's gonna take a lot of work to pull this off. And, saying, okay, here are the workers. That's why I asked Miss Darlene to come here and explain to her. And she's assured me it's possible to get this done and to do it, efficiently. And I know that our clerk has concerns about that. But again, with the commissioner's help in assuring us that we will have, I think it's about time that we, serve the residents down there, do them justice and have that available to them. But that's not the only place. Like I mentioned, there are also concerns in that middle north to Mr. Watterson and Ms. Grobeck.
As far as when we were approached by the South County members at the last meeting and before with the Better Government Group about adding a from Dr. Cora with the full support, they'll dedicate the time and resources to get this done and what needs to happen. And we have assurances from the IT department, which is one of the key elements in here, and IT that can be done. So I'm in support of this, and not on the condition that and add another one in Cool Spring. The more the merrier. And it's nice to see it exercised, and I think we'll get a better turnout, and especially in such a critical election, like Nelson said. And as far as no-brainer, when I heard about it the first time, I understand. Let's get it done. We've got a month to do it. It's gonna take some work, but that's what we're here for. Those are my comments.
Yes, I just found out about the support letter at 10 o'clock last night. I was not aware about any of this. I've given a great deal of thought to this. We have a big county. We have a long distance to travel to get to different areas. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes on. Part of it, they've been here at night, many weeks in advance. It takes a lot of work to not only pull off an election for 7 hours each day. We have to be prepared to take care of that on the drop of a hat as people are standing in line trying to vote. Back in 2017, in my first year as clerk, it was not an election year. I made a presentation along with microvote to the county commission. It was about a half-an-hour presentation. It was trying to sell vote centers to the county commissioners. Mr. Steve Shamu did a great job. He's done this before. It was a no-win or a win-win situation. It cost money, a lot of money. It was going to be around $800,000 to do. Consequently, the commission voted it down. With that, a vote center, you have to have internet, you have to have location, you have to have equipment, and you have to have electronic poll books, and the memory of your machines have to be able to hold a lot more vote. And we didn't have any of that, so we got shut down. Next year is an off year, and it's my plan to try that one more time, because I don't know if it'll work or if it's good for us. It's worth giving it a try. Right now, we're 3 weeks away from opening for early vote. I have the Michigan City and the Laporte location set and ready to go. I've got the workers set, got the equipment set, the rooms are ready, except for setting up the tables and getting everything out there.
this is really late in the game, and I wonder why at this point in time, 3 weeks out, that this came up now, when it should have come up at the beginning of the year, or even right after the primary. But now we're 3 weeks out, and this is what everyone is proposing. And don't get me wrong, I am not against it at all. But no one realizes the amount of time and work that goes into it, and what happens every single day when you're down there trying to do it. And you know, the 45-minute drive that you believe is what it takes to get up here to vote is a 45-minute drive for me or whoever goes down South County to fix a problem more than once or twice or 3 times a day. So, I don't know, I want to do for the voters of Laporte County. So that every voter in Laporte County can be afforded the same courtesy that the South County is being afforded. And I think it's fair. As clerk, that's my job, to make sure everybody is afforded the same responsibility or the same opportunity. And I don't know, it's really hard for me to afford this to the South County and not the rest of the county. And, you know, there are many, many little small towns in the county. They're just like Wanatah Lacrosse. So that's my 2 cents worth. And I did want to say this is not a partisan issue. And Mr. Rosenbaum, you are the most difficult to work with. I am not hard to work with, but you are. And so,
Thank you for your time.
the door's open.
It has not been.
You don't come over. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other comments regarding the early voting location. I think we heard all of that. I would ask for hold off on any motions regarding the early voting location until under new business where we discuss approval of the early voting location date and time. With that said, we will move on to sometimes it's hard to stomach discussion on absentee slash ballot count. This was a discussion that we had from the last meeting. We have received lists from both county party heads, and I've reviewed them. And I believe we have enough. I discussed this with Mr. Watterson. I think we may need a few more from the Republican side. I think we can have some comments on that. I think I've shared this a number of times. My goal is to with that said, from my understanding and from seeing it, the amount of teams that we had working in here, and I want to clarify, at the last meeting, I said that we had 18 teams working. That was incorrect. We had 18 people total, so that was like 9 teams, which is not enough. So my goal is to try to get this room to maximize its potential. I think that we could get a few more tables in here and still be social distance. And my goal is to have about 11 or 12 teams. I think that maximizes the use of the room. That gets us to about 24 people. It's going to be tight, but I'm going to come in here with a tape measure and measure it out so I have an exact number, because that's the only way to do it. But at this time, regarding the absentee ballot counters, I believe we only have dedicated under that specific category. I think we only have 16 from the Republican Party, and we have many more on the other side. But regardless, it's not a competition, right? It's just we need more people, and if it's going to require having additional Republicans, that's fine. But my goal regarding this is to maximize this room, have more teams, so that we can process more during the time that we're alive. Any other comments?
Yeah, I think based on our list, I think the list that Mr. Farkas provided, so right there, we've got 15 or 16 teams. But obviously, we have to take into account that some of those people have to be available when the election time comes around. So we've got more people that are coming, and again, the party chairs will be served with their written notice to provide their lists 60 days in advance. That's the end of the 14. September 14th is when that notice will be provided to them, and then they can respond within 36 days. So I think we're gonna have more than enough people. It's gonna be a lot more efficient, especially once Nelson and I get this room figured out. We'll have our team. Not that, he mentioned it's gonna be a tight fit, but that's within social distancing guidelines. It's gonna be a tight fit. To have two per table, I think we're gonna be way better off than we were at the primary. And, it's seen a lot of good work behind the scenes that you guys may not see, but it's well underway.
Possible to make a comment on this item?
Briefly, yes.
Mr. President, usually it would be nice to have one team of two people, one Democrat, one Republican for every 200 ballots. And we probably will be anticipating applications, and we'll get more. And so my request here is that the space permits try to get at least 20 teams. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Laporte. That's our, again, we need to just measure it out and make sure that we have the appropriate amount of tables for the team. There's appropriately. One thing that I did do is I wanted to make sure, because there was some confusion as to whether or not we were going to be able to reserve both sides in this entire room. And I've been assured, and we're on the schedule to have the room well in advance of the election and a few days after as well. So we won't come into any type of calendar conflict with anyone else that's to use this room, because we've already did the homework and getting it squared away for us in the election. So I want to make that comment. Other than that, I think we're on track. Like Mr. Watterson said, we have the necessary people. We're looking for a few more just in case, people drop out. You never know what the circumstances. Having a few extras is important. And just wanted to give everyone an update on that. So there are board member comments. We will move on to new business. Hearing none, we will first move on to under new business, approval of early voting location, dates, and time.
I would move to approve the early voting locations. Are we doing them all?
Yeah, if you don't mind, hold off on your motion. Let's talk a little bit about the dates and times first. That way, if there are any issues with that, we can address them. And 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the week is Monday, October 26th, 2020, through Friday, October 30th, 2020, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday, October 24th, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday, October 31st, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then the last day will be Monday, November 2nd, 8 a.m. to noon, 12 p.m. Those are the early voting dates and times. We've had quite the conversation about the locations. I don't know if I need to go into detail about that, but just in case for anyone's public, any project early we proposed our Laporte County Complex Building, 809 State Street, Laporte, Indiana, Michigan City County Annex Building, 8 Wabash, Michigan City, Indiana. A south rural county location of the town of Wanata Town Council. I don't have the address off the top of my head. I think we're all familiar with that. We can add that to our notes so that we have an actual address. And also for the northern rural county area, Full Spring Township area. And that, I do have the address, 400 North and 400 North and Johnson Road. Those are the proposed location sites and the dates. At this time, if there are any comments regarding that, I take that at this, any board member comments, I take that at this time. And I entertain any motions.
I would move to approve the early voting locations, dates, and times as a whole.
I second that.
I have a question. How can you approve the South County when we haven't approved it yet?
Well, that's what we are bringing that up to vote on.
In the approval of this, the times?
If you want us to do it separately, time?
Well, I don't know. I just, when you're approving the, locations and dates and times, is that your approval for, how you wanna handle the other two locations?
Well,
Is my question.
yes, I understand your question. Yes, the time would be for all of the early voting locations. To not have any confusion, let's take a vote. What there's a motion to be made, let's break down the location, and then we'll accept another motion for the dates and times. Is that appropriate for you? Okay.
Just that this document that I provided to you doesn't have the other two locations on it, so.
Okay, I understand.
So I would move to approve the Laporte County Complex Building at 809 State Street, Port Indiana.
Second? Is that how you want to do it?
No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I would like to take all of the early voting locations at once, and then we will do the voting dates and times separately.
Then I will amend my motion to include Laporte County Complex Building, Michigan City County Annex Building, Wanata Town Hall, and the Cool Spring location on 400 North Johnson Road. To approve those as early voting locations.
Did you also include the Montauk Town Council South Building?
If that was in there.
I would second the motion to approve all of those 4 early voting locations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, we have 2 votes for.
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 nay. We have 2 votes for and 1 against. For this particular item, we would need a unanimous vote for the early voting locations. Seeing that we do not have that, we still have to approve early voting locations. So I entertain a motion for the locations that we are going to approve.
I would move.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Second early voting location is Michigan City County. Any other location on the top location, so another voting location, any others?
I move to approve Cool Spring Township, on Johnson Road at 400 North.
Michigan City County Annex Building 8 in Wabash, Michigan City. Now as to early voting dates and times.
I would move to approve,
6th through October 9th, 8 a.m. to 4. 15th through October 16th, 8 a.m. to 4. October 19th through October 20th.
Breakdown on machines. Each priest obviously will be voting for a different school board. What you have in front of you is all of them, so you can see who the candidates are and what they're running for and what party they are.
And was this provided to each of the county party heads?
Yes, through both of them. I got approval from both of them.
I've reviewed it. I don't see any issue with the ballot. I accept the motion to accept this as our.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on under new business, announcement of polling locations. Got it.
We don't have the official locations yet. That is approved by the commissioners. What you have in front of you is what we used in June, and we're calling all these locations. We had some concerns about the schools because we used them in June because the schools were closed. And so we contacted the schools. They are on e-learning that day, so the schools are not open in Michigan City. One thing that we did have concern for was, I believe it is the Teamsters Hall. think that's the one.
To the commissioners, will this be at their monthly meeting?
I doubt, well, I don't know, depends if we were able to get a hold of everybody. We need a thumbs up on all the locations before they approve it.
So, at one of the upcoming commissioners' meetings, this will be the next one.
Yes.
Hey, do you have any questions about this, Mr. Watson? Seeing no questions, and we do not have to take a vote on this, we're going to move on to fees, to polling places, and mandatory.
Well, we just want you to be aware, since you're both new, we do pay, some of the polling locations, we rent the building and we pay a minimal fee of, to them for use. It's a very small amount of money. And some of them required us to go in and provide janitorial services. And they get paid for that also. We pay them normally to do it. In the spring, it was a little difficult because a lot of the locations wanted to do their own cleaning ahead of time and afterwards, but they still got paid. I don't know, Catherine, is it what, maybe seven or eight locations that we paid? Something like that, it's not very, and the salaries for the, I can jump to the next one, the salaries for the poll workers is $11.25 an hour.
So just to clarify, the fees to the polling places, do we know what each location, what the fees for each location?
Yes, it's the same every time.
Okay.
It doesn't change.
All right, and that is then,
It's like $60. If it's a split location, I think it's 90, 75? Okay, it's not very much. I
Okay.
mean, considering we're using the building.
and so just to clarify, once we have set and once the commissioners have approved our locations, then we will, at our board meeting, approve the fees to the polling places, correct?
It would be approved at the same time, yes.
Okay.
I mean, it hasn't changed in years, it's the same.
So we will approve it once we have the locations that have been approved by the commissioners. All right, you mentioned that the set salaries for the poll workers is $11.25. Again, this is a paid position for a poll worker. Wanted to make sure that everyone's clear on that. This is a volunteered position. It's actually paid. It's $11.25 an hour, as Ms. Robat has indicated. Any comments or questions on that, Mr. Larson?
No.
Anything else on set salaries for the poll workers? Mr. Robat?
No.
Okay. Last, under new business is the announcement of the public test. Kathy, when will that be?
The public test is set for September 28th. I believe that's a Monday, 2 o'clock.
Okay, can you explain for the public what that is?
What we do is, it's actually noticed as a public meeting. Anybody in the public in the county can come in and watch and participate in the test of the machine. They randomly pick out a percentage of machines that is a percentage of that what we're going to use on election day. They take a percentage of that. It's through the state of Indiana. They send us a list. We randomly pick those. They're programmed, and then in the absentee room, they're laid out, and we go on probably for the afternoon, and anybody can come in and take a ballot, because we'll hand ballots out for you. And if you look at this ballot, you have the opportunity to go through every single one of these folks on the ballot and punch their number to make sure that their vote is cast in the machine. So you have voted for everyone, just to make sure that the vote is cast for everybody on the ballot.
And that's open to anyone who has any issues with microvote or doesn't believe that the machines work or whatever. Come out, that's your time to come look at the public test. This time, you need to.
I did want to add, I gave you an email that we had a meeting believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday. And it was called because I had concerns about the security issue with people that are voting. So this email outlines the decision that was made through the commissioners and our security, head of security, Vern, who I think he was here earlier, but he's not. Because there is court in the basement of this building, and that's an issue. So we have amended the way that people are gonna be able to come in. And this will outline it for you. So
Just so that everyone's aware, can you inform the public what the decision was about security?
well, you still have to go, because it's a county ordinance, you still have to go through the tent out here to get temperature checked and sign in, at least sign in. At that point, if you say, I'm going to vote, you're welcome to come into this building freely. Everything in this building will be locked down. The basement will be locked down because there is a courtroom down there, and the elevators will be locked down. And if you have an appointment to get up to one of the floors, you can either call, and I understand there'll be a phone, and let somebody know to let you in, or you can prearrange the appointment to come in. But if you come into this building to vote, go in and vote, go out the other door, and then walk out. There will be no other place that you could go unless you wanted to go into the sheriff's office, because everything else will be locked down.
Okay, what about, that 8th Street, Michigan City?
8th Street, it's basically gonna be open as it was in the primary. There was some concern about the weekends because there was nobody on staff in that whole county complex, so I believe there may be some security in the area because of the building being the county government building on weekends, not during the week. Basically, it'd be the same as it was in the spring, where we only allowed 2 people voting and 1 checking in at one time because of the social distancing. And then we had everybody stand out on the sidewalk. There's a overhead in case it's raining, so you can stand under it and not get wet. It'll go in one door, out another. There's a walk, so nobody's passing each other. But I don't believe the security is an issue except for the weekend. They were concerned about the weekend because there's nobody around. Where now, during the week, that building has cameras in operation.
So right now, you still need, based on the county ordinance, your temperature check before you come in here.
Correct.
I mean, what are we prepared to do for people that have a higher temperature, or, they have some on staff to diagnose them as having the flu or having COVID? I don't
know the answer to that. Doctor was in the meeting, and I don't know what they decided to do about that. I know if you come in, you can't vote today, you can probably are voting for 28 days, unless you wait till last minute. The last Saturday, Halloween Saturday, you can vote, and Monday, the day before election, you can vote. So if you don't wait till the last minute, you can always come back. And you can vote on poll day, go out to the polls and vote at the polls like, we do. You can do that also.
But just so we're clear though, so the public knows, if they can't come in one of these early voting days, their only option is to come in to one of the polling places. Well, they're not going to be checking the temperatures in the polling.
No, they do not. They will not be doing
We also point out,
Y'all talking in circles, man.
8th Street at Michigan City, are they going to be checking temperatures there?
that.
We have no control as to whether or not we can allow a voter in, if they have a temperature or they have,
So as a board, we can agree that it's certainly strange that because you can't really vote with the temperature, you can still go to a polling place on election day.
It's because it's not going to the building.
Well, I get that, but then rationale behind this.
So, just that the public's aware, that's good information. Alright, there's nothing else on the business. Is this board having other business to address? I don't have any business, you all have no business.
I don't have anything else.
I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Okay.